Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome you all to the Code of Conduct webinar. Today we are gathered here virtually to discuss a crucial topic, the Code of Conduct, as well as the provisions of the Architectural Profession Act, Act 44 of 2000, in relation to rendering architectural work whilst not registered with SACAP. My name is Bessie, my surname is Lope, and I'll be the program director of this exciting webinar. I'm thrilled to see so many of you joining us for this important presentation, discussion, and conversation. Throughout this webinar, we'll explore the Code of Conduct rules, typical contraventions, and the Act. We will share practical insights and equip you with knowledge that will lead to better understanding and easy compliance with the rules of the Code of Conduct. By the end, you will not only have gained CPD points, but also have the readings to comply with the Code of Conduct. So without further ado, let's dive in. Please feel free to ask any questions, participate actively, and make the most of this session. Thank you for being here. Before we begin with our program, I would just like all our presenters to please introduce themselves to the attendees. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Sfanele Matebula. I am with the legal department in the South African Council for the Architectural Profession. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Ntanganedzini Makakabule. I am with the South African Council for the Architectural Profession as a legal compliance officer, and we will be presenting on the Code of Conduct as well. Thank you.
Mr. Nyaka, are you here? Okay, we also have Mr. Vuyo Nyaka, who will also be presenting on the Architectural Profession Act. And then we also have our legal secretary, Ms. Selina Seku, who is assisting us with showing the presentation for you all and applicable logistics. And then before we commence, I'd just like all the attendees to note that only the persons that are attending via Zoom will be allocated CPD points for this event. Persons who are logging in via Facebook will not be allocated any CPD points. So you are therefore advised that if you are seeing us through Facebook, that you please join via Zoom so that you can be able to get those CPD points. And then to start off our program, we will ask Mr. Matebula to kindly go through an introduction for us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lope. As a way of introduction, the Architectural Profession Act, Act 44 of 2000, mandates the South African Council for the Architectural Profession to take reasonable steps to ensure the protection of the environment and the public when the public deals with the registered persons. As such, SACAP is empowered to take reasonable steps to maintain the integrity of the profession as well as improve the standard of services provided by registered persons. To achieve this, Section 27 of the Act provides for the Council to draw up a code of conduct for RPs. All RPs are expected to adhere to and comply with the code. Failure to observe the code amounts to improper conduct, and non-compliant RPs must be investigated, prosecuted, and sanctioned if found guilty. This webinar seeks to discuss the applicable rules in the Code of Conduct which relate to the prevalent reported complaints of improper conduct. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matebula, for your introduction. Much appreciated. Thank you all again. I will commence with the presentation. My presentation for now will focus on the Rule 4.1 of the Code of Professional Conduct, which deals with the terms of appointment, and I will also look at Rule 2.6, which deals with candidates. Here, in relation to Rule 4.1, terms that registered persons do not conclude a formal contract between themselves and their clients. The only agreement with their client is usually a verbal agreement, which fails to comply with Rule 4.1 in its entirety. Secondly, registered persons would have their terms of appointment in writing. However, on the terms of appointment, registered persons would fail to include clauses that are required to be included in the contract. For example, this would be failure to provide termination clause, a dispute resolution clause, and also they fail to provide the details of their professional indemnity insurance. So if you look at Rule 4.1, all these clauses are meant to be in your contractual agreement. SACAP has tried to assist registered persons who cannot afford legal fees to draft a contract, amongst other constraints, and has developed 2 contracts that registered persons can make use of in their day-to-day dealings with members of the public. The said contract can be downloaded on the SACAP website. There is one for high complexity projects and also one for low complexity projects. This is an effort to assist registered persons in having terms of appointment that comply with Rule 4.1. So if you use the contracts that are on our website, you will see that they cover the entire Rule 4.1. And then moving on to Rule 2.6 of the Code of Professional Conduct. Rule 2.6 deals with persons who are registered with SACAP in the category of candidate. And then here, numerous complaints that we receive from the public relate to persons that are registered as candidates, rendering architectural public independently without supervision of their architectural mentors. Further, persons registered in the category of candidate misrepresent themselves to unknowing members of the public as professionals, and they use their mentors' principles, details to actually submit building plans for approval for clients independently. This is a contravention of the Code of Professional Conduct. If you are registered in the category of a candidate, you must ensure that you render architectural work under the supervision of your mentor. And then also your mentors must ensure that you are not running an architectural practice whilst you are whilst you are working under their supervision. Kavule, who will take us through the following, what should be contained in your letterhead, and also how should you update a client, and also the importance of keeping records in an architectural practice, amongst other rules. Thank you, Mr. Makakavule.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lope. Good morning to you all once again. Yes, my name is Ntanganedzeni Makakabule, and I'm the Legal Compliance Officer at SACAP. And I'll take you through the presentation, starting from the topic of RPs renting out their registration numbers to unregistered persons. So what we have here is that we have noticed, as introduced by my colleague, Mr. Spanel, we have came up with these specific rules because we have noticed that these are the rules that are prevalent to be contravened by our RPs. And then we have made a presentation solely to focus on the ones that we've seen that there is a high contravention activity on them. So we are preparing this. We have prepared this presentation for you, so that you can be able to make sure that in your day-to-day running of your practices, you try to comply with actually not try to comply, you comply with these rules, so that you're not found to have contravened them. So we have here as point number 1, registered persons shall only issue drawing, specification, or documents in respect of work performed or administered by them or by a person in their employ which bears their name and or registration number or the name of the architectural practice. So obviously, if I need to expand more on that, we have situations where we have noticed that registered persons would be signing off other persons' work, and maybe this would be in a case where, for instance, a draft person cannot prepare this work because of the identification of work, and then he prepares the plans, and then from there on he gets someone to sign them off. So that is not allowed in terms of the code of conduct. So what would be allowed is when you, as a draft person, you are working with this person. If you are working with this person, this would mean that you are in the same company. If it is a joint venture, it should be proved as such, and then it should not be that you are preparing plans somewhere and then from there on you go and say, no, Steve, can you please sign this off for me? And then normally we've seen that registered persons with higher categories than the ones who seek their signature would be charging a fee. So when it comes to us, we are able to see and we are able to investigate and prosecute on that, because we would it would be clear that even the client would be saying, no, I do not know Tom, I only dealt with Steve, and then I'm surprised now that my plans have a signature or have been submitted by someone that I do not know. You understand? So this should be treated professionally, and RPs are requested to please not contravene this rule. So we also have here these rules, point number 2. These rules have been widely contravened unethically by unregistered persons, whereby we have had complaints of registered persons signing off unregistered persons' work and unqualified registered persons for work submission. So this would also extend to the situation where you find that this person is not registered at all. And then one would then be saying that, no, I'm registered, you do the work, and then I will send them off. Because remember, the code of conduct requires you to also have professional indemnity insurance. So if you're going to be signing off this kind of work with which is not done in your office, then we during the investigation we will see, and then we will be in a position to prosecute. So unregistered persons, one of our colleagues will indicate we've had situations where unregistered persons have came up and then they've said that, no, we were working with this person, and then this is our association. You understand? So if an unregistered person is going to say that, you should be able to confirm that. And if you're not going to be confirmed that in terms of our other rule in the code of conduct, you'll be prosecuted for working with a person who's not registered without informing the council. So if you're working with a person who's not registered, you must inform the council to say that this is the person that I'm working with, and for these purposes. Yeah, I understand. So we also have point number 3. So on point number 3, other registered persons have complained. Sorry, you can go back. Yeah. So on point number 3, we have it says there, other registered persons have complained that because them being of a lower category, senior registered persons make them pay hefty fees for these signatures, and we have taken them to task. So this is what I was referring to earlier on, to say that a draft person, maybe technologist or whoever, as long as they are of a junior category, they have complained to SACAP to say that, no, we take these drawings to this person, and this person has made us pay. And then that is not allowed, because you should be preparing plans that you are going to be signing, and then you should not be engaging in any other corruption activities. So on point number 4, we often see the contravention of this rule where registered persons sign off copied work that belongs to other professionals, making that work theirs and submitting such work to the local municipality for approval. This conduct is not only contravention to the code of conduct, but it also contravenes the Copyright Act, and the registered person can find themselves being sued by original authors. So in the case where you'll be taking off someone's work, so what we have, I'm sure you are aware of the Copyright Act and also the intellectual property. So you can be sued if you happen to have contravened if those act by taking someone's work and just signing off without their work being prepared by you. So Selena, you can take to the next page. So colleagues, we are trying to have this webinars on a regular basis to try and make sure that you understand, because sometimes it can be difficult to go through the code of conduct, but if you go through it once, I'm sure a lot will be clear in your conscious, in your day-to-day. You'd know that, okay, fine, this was once presented as SACAP to say this is not as per the code of conduct, and however, we still find that most of these contraventions are contravened on a regular basis, which I'm sure with the number of attendees today, we will receive less complaints of such contravention. So we also have poor communication with clients. In our presentation, we have here, a registered person shall ensure that after each milestone, the client signs off where the scope of work involves more than one stage. So this could be viewed as difficult, but it will assist. Let me tell you why. So when we during the construction phase, or even during this process of architectural of preparing architectural drawings, it is a process. If it's a process, it means that sometimes your client might say, no, I want this. Sometimes they might change the scope of work. Sometimes there might be this and that, which maybe if you're preparing plans for a heritage, you then realize, no, this is, in the beginning, you were not aware that this is a heritage application. You realize going on forward, no, this is a heritage application. You must go to heritage. This building is older than 60 years. Do you understand? All those things must be documented, because when the client comes here, the client will be saying, no, I appointed this person in 2022 November, and then now it's 2024. And then the process that has been unfolding, you have been trying to assist this client by making sure that this passed through heritage, this passed through other departments, because some other department might be looking for information that you probably not have. It doesn't mean that you're incompetent. However, you need to follow the processes. So making sure that they are aware of your processes that you are undertaking, it also assists you wherein you have that documented. When it has been presented to SACAP as a complaint, you can be able to say, no, this is what happened on this date. This is what happened. I informed him that this was what we were doing, and then he consented to it, and then he gave an approval. Because these days things are, even if it's on WhatsApp, even if, as long as it can be proved. You understand? It can be on email, however, as long as you can prove it to say, no, this is what we have done, and then this person has consented, and then we have moved on. And then obviously that will be as per the payment schedules. If you have looked at our code of conduct, you would have seen that you must have a payment, how payments should be made. So our our contracts that we have on our website for registered persons to use freely comply with the code of conduct. So you can download our contracts, and then you can share it with your clients, and then you'll see that there are method of payments when what is paid after what has happened. You understand? So the rules extends to informing clients in writing of any issue which may significantly affect its quality of or cost, and any other considerations which may substantially affect the project. So we have situations here where registered persons have changed the scope of work because of what they have been informed, maybe by the municipality or by the HOA, and then they have changed, and then they have not informed the client. And then the client will now come and say, no, he has changed this because you are not preparing the plans for yourself. So you are preparing the plans for your client. So you are an agent to your client. So you must inform your client as to say, this is what has happened. The HOA has indicated that this is not supposed to happen in this way, even though this was as per your request. Now let's find a way. You understand? So that you can be engaging with your client regularly, so that it should not be a he said, she said situation. So if you have your things written down, documented, you can produce, say, no, I have informed the client that the roof could not be as in this way. This was the scope of the client, and then this is what the guidelines are saying, and then you move forward from there. So this role assists registered persons in keeping track of their milestone on the project, and also assist where the client alleges that such work has not been done, and such proof can be produced to confirm that the performance of such milestone. So obviously, clients would, I mean, they are not in the profession. They are not architectural profession. They will be saying, no, I appointed this guy to do this and that. So they know what they know, and then you know what you know. So when you know what you know, you're actually in a best position to indicate that, no, this has been done, and then you take it to the client. This has been done, you take it to the client, so that when the client says, no, I have appointed him to do this, we have a situation where, maybe if we can give an example, where this lady indicated that she was a runner, but then she's a registered person. She said she was a runner, but on her invoice is informing us of other things which runner do not do. She indicated that she will amend the plans to comply with municipal requirements. But then she is saying to us that she was a runner. But then the client is saying, no, she can't be saying that she's a runner, because this is what I know. She gave me this invoice. I paid as per this invoice. This invoice says she's going to submit these plans, and should there be any corrections, she will then be able to make corrections to make sure they comply. So those things are important for RPs to put down and make sure that your client is aware of your appointment. She's aware of what you are supposed to be doing. And when you have done that, you indicate that has been done. If it's a matter of payment, please pay me, that has been done, and then we move forward. You understand? So we also have signing of plans by clients before the plans are submitted to also. It's also important as, okay, so on this one, I don't know in terms of how other registered persons are doing it, but clients must sign off the plans to indicate that they have consented to those plans to be submitted, and that plan is as per the client's scope. We have had situations where a client will be saying, no, he failed to prepare the plans as per the scope. So if you present your plans to your client to sign off before submission, she signs off, you sign off, then you have you have eliminated that complaint to come and say, no, I have appointed him to do this, and he has failed to do that. He put the windows there, and he put the windows there. No, if you say, no, I'm done with the plans, now we're ready for submission, please sign off here. I will sign off here. It means that I have executed what you have sent me to do. I've prepared it as per your scope, and then from there it will then be the matter of the municipality to see if that complies with the rules and regulations. So we have here, it says they're signing off plans by clients before plans are submitted is also important, as it is also proof that the client has seen the plans and has approved them as they are to be submitted. This provides clients with courage and transparency with the work during the project, because we have situations where registered members or clients will be coming, homeowners will be coming to say, no, I've appointed him to prepare the plans. He left. I have not seen him for over 8 months. And then he comes back with approved plans. And then those approved plans are not what I had instructed him to do. So this will be very much important, registered members, to make sure that these clients are aware of what they have appointed you to do. They are aware that the plans are now in circulation with the municipality. And then that will also assist them in not lodging complaints to say, I don't know what's going on, he has not communicated with me, and so forth. So we also have registered persons often fall victim to this rule by noticing significant changes in the progress and not informing their clients. Budgets get exceeded and clients are left to feed the bill. It is important to inform the clients of any of this and let the client be aware and make reasonable, informed decision on the matter. To avoid he said, she said, it is required that registered persons keep their clients informed in writing to prove that this was indicated to the client and this was the client's response. So this is actually what we have been presenting on, to say that please keep your clients informed. The clients must be aware of the projects. They're the ones who are paying. There must somewhere, somehow, if you have office if you have office members to assist, someone must be dealing with the client, and then they must be informed of, okay, fine, we have the plan has left the heritage. The plan is now with the land use department. The land use department is doing this. The plan is now with the building control office is signing off, and then just to make sure that we do not have a person coming to say no, this is what because processes can be happening without clients knowing, because clients just informing the client is just I mean it's just an update. Even the client will also be in a position to say no. I mean I used Mr. Peter Smith. Mr. Peter Smith was very much professional. He updated me on the work, and then when the plans were approved, I was aware if there were corrections. He informed him that there are corrections, and then he's attending to them as it goes. We can move forward to the next one, Celine. So, colleagues, we have noticed a spike on these roles. That's why we have actually took them one by one to make sure that you also come back to the code of conduct to make sure that this should be one thing that you attend to. So we also have failure to attend to referrals. Registered persons shall attend to all correction requested by the local authority on the drawings prepared by them within a reasonable time. So here we have a number of them, a number of complaints where sometimes even the professional is not aware that there are corrections. The professional is not even aware that there are corrections that needed to be submitted. Sometimes even if they are aware, it's more than 6 months, 8 months, the plan has been lying there, and then the municipality has made corrections. They have even referred the corrections to the registered person to attend to, but then he has failed to do that. So that is a contravention of the code of conduct, because it also delays. Remember, these homeowners, some would have had what is this building loans from the banks, and the longer it takes for you to get those plans approved, it's affecting them negatively, because even their credit what is this, the credit profile would have been affected, because you have taken so long to get the plans approved, and the file is just there on your desk, and then there are corrections. The municipality has done it, because we have situations where RPs will be coming to say, registered members will be coming to say, no, the municipality is taking long. If the municipality is taking long, inform your client that it is not on our side. The municipality is the one who is taking long, and you can blame municipalities. But then when we now start to investigate, we contact the municipality. What happened to this application? The municipality will say, no, we have informed this person on this date that this and this had happened. So at least it should not be on your table. It should have left your table. It is now with the municipality. They are the ones who would be responding to us as to why the plans have been staying there for such a long time and not attended to. So also plans are submitted to the local authority on a daily basis, and having them refused by the local authority is not a misconduct. However, failure to attend such comments within a reasonable time is. So this sentence here, this paragraph is just emphasizing that the matters plans being refused is not a misconduct. However, failing to attend to those corrections is a misconduct. Failing to attend to them within a reasonable time is a misconduct, because obviously reasonable time will be looked at, and then we will be in a position to say, no, you have failed. This is not reasonable. It is beyond the reasonable time that a normal or a professional registered person should take. So on a regular basis, we receive complaints from members of the public with regard to this rule. Registered persons submit plans and do not follow up on the progress of the plans for months, if not years, after being paid for such service. Members of the public will be calling to lodge complaints, seeking SACAP to assist them with following up with their appointed professional to attend to the corrections made by the local authority. It's very sad that some homeowners have to call SACAP for us to call the registered persons to attend to this to attend to the corrections whilst they have been paid. So that one is when we will make attempts, if needs be, we'll make attempts to try and resolve matters amicably before the complaint has been lodged. But however, we would have evidence. During those attempts, we would have evidence to say, no, we even tried to get you to do this thing, but then you have failed to attend to these corrections, and then this person has been waiting for these plans. This person has paid you for these plans. However, you have failed to attend to these corrections within reasonable time. So please, let's attend to the corrections as and when we receive them. Registered persons are once again urged to make follow-ups with the submitted plans, as in most cases, these corrections and or amendments are sent to them, and only they can attend to these corrections, as the client cannot perform such. So obviously, if we look at some municipalities are ahead, some municipalities are behind. We are aware of that. And some municipalities would then, when there are corrections, they would inform the registered person directly with the emails, because you would have left your communications there in terms of if it's your email or if it's your cell numbers. So when these corrections, they would have the municipality, sorry, the municipality would have communicated with the registered person to attend to such, and then however, they would have failed to attend to those corrections, and then we would have proof to say that the municipality has informed you on this date, however, you have failed. So we have noticed a trend with registered persons using fraudulent stamps purporting that the plans have been approved while the plans are not. So this one, I don't think I will go further on it. It is pure fraud, and it's not encouraged. We have had situations where in registered persons, I don't know why would a registered person even go to that extent, but they are there. Registered persons would have fake stamps, stamp it to say that it has been approved, and then we we have in a number of occasions prosecuted such members doing those illegal activities. And so we also have here, it is not only professional misconduct due to the unethical behavior, but also a punishable criminal offense. Registered professionals are urged to conduct their services ethically to avoid any act that has the potential of rendering their conduct unethical. This is a simple, okay. All right. Yeah. So we have a number of cases where we have received such complaints, and then we have had to punish such registered members of that act. So we also have complaints have been submitted to SACAP where the homeowners applied for a building contract with the bank and submitted the same plans to the bank for approval, only to find out when the municipality served them with a letter of a fine for building without approved plans that there is no approved plans on the municipal system. The plans provided to the homeowners were fraudulently stamped by the registered person, who now faces legal action by the homeowner and criminal charges to that effect. Yeah. So, I mean, plans go a long way. Plans are not just going to the municipalities. Plans go to the HOAs. Plans goes to the banks. We investigate the plans. So, if you are thinking of just stamping on a fake stamp, one day we will find them, and then you will be prosecuted. We can move forward, Celine. So we also have adhering to timelines when performing architectural work. So RPs here, sorry for not indicating RPs. We use the term RPs in our vocab. RPs means registered persons. So if I happen to say RPs or my colleague happen to say RPs, they'll be referring to registered persons. So registered persons are required to enter into written agreements, contracts with their clients. These agreements express the terms of the appointment, which include the requirements under Rule 4.1 to I of the Code of Conduct. So we also have here a project. By its nature, it's a task to be performed within a particular budget, allocated resources, and within a specified time. Therefore, a client professional project agreement for architectural services should provide for timeframes within within which the project must be undertaken. So due to the fact that unforeseen circumstances may prevail, making it impossible for a registered person to adhere to timelines, the Code of Conduct requires RPs where reasonable possible to make appropriate arrangements to ensure the fulfillment of his professional obligations. In practice, events that make it impossible for an RP to adhere to timelines are incapacitated to perform to work due to illness. In such situation, it will be reasonably expected for a research person to arrange with another professional to step in and proceed with their work. Oftentimes, clients have their own pressures to finalize their project. As such, any delay in the project may impact them negatively in respects. RPs are expected to keep their clients informed in writing about the progress of the work undertaken on their behalf within a reasonable time. Clients ought to be informed of any issue which may significantly affect the quality of the project in terms of Rule 4.14. So thank you so much, colleagues. This was my presentation. And I hope you have learned a thing or two, or have been reminded, or if maybe you had a confusion about what is required from you as a professional. I think from the presentation and a bit of examples that we've had, you've had you will now comply as you go back to your offices, and make sure that complaints do not reach SACAP. Thank you so much for attending. We will engage in your question and answers, and we'll try our best to resolve them as we go. Thank you so much. My name is Taganezima Kabule. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makakavule. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for going in depth on the contravention of these rules, and also giving examples on the type of cases that we normally see. Have looked at the importance of having equal persons. Registered candidates must always conduct their work under supervision. I noticed on the questions that we are receiving that somebody asked about the role of a mentor. Please note that these rules are there under Rule 2 of the Code of Professional Conduct on what is a mentor supposed to do, but we will also try to respond to type answers in your responses, and you can still raise these questions when we give you a chance to ask questions. And then we've also looked at the fact that registered persons should not associate themselves with unregistered persons for the purpose of performing architectural work, and there should be no lease numbers. Also to encourage people who see this happening to also let us know at SACAP so that we can attend to this. And then also to familiarize yourself with the rules in order to understand how you can achieve adequate communication with your client. As Mr. Makakavule stated, try to put everything in writing, not only to ensure adequate communication, but to also protect yourself when a complaint is being lodged and there's an allegation that you are not communicating. It's very important that you understand that once a point of dissatisfaction is reached by your client, when they lodge the complaint with us, they not only talk about the plans themselves, but also how you are communicating with them. They are stating that you are ignoring calls. They are stating that their numbers are being blocked, whereby they need to now ask somebody else to try and call you to see if that number is still working. No matter what is happening in the agreement, try to make sure that you have adequate communication and keeping things in writing, as I mentioned before, to protect yourself. And then also ensure that you inform your client when you come across challenges that render you incapable of rendering or finalizing their work. Remember that people take their savings and money that they've worked hard for to try and get their dream homes. And then when there's issues, obviously they also get frustrated. So you need to be able to understand that and make sure that when you come across a challenge, communicate that challenge with your client, and then also try to get somebody and make that arrangement of trying to get somebody who can assist you with finalizing the client. And then I'm also seeing that we are receiving a lot of questions in relation to the claiming of the points for today's webinar and other webinars. We will also be responding, but then also it's very important that you know that after the event has been concluded, a list of all attendees will be prepared by our SR department, and then it will be furnished to the CPD department. So it's just for you to have patience. This will be happening. And then also just to note that you will not get a certificate necessarily, but you will receive, the points will be allocated to you in your profile. And then thank you again, Mr. Makakavule. Really, really appreciate. At this moment, I would appreciate it if we can have a quick question and answer session. And then after that, maybe we can have a body break. Thank you so, so much. Much appreciated. Okay, sorry to everyone. Whilst we're trying to enable ourselves to be able to see who is raising hand and be able to ask them to speak and ask their questions, I think we should just take a body break, maybe until just up until 10, and then we proceed from there. And then from there, we'll take all the questions that you have, and then we'll proceed with our presentation, and then have another question and answer session later on. Thank you so much. See you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you are all still here and waiting for us. We had taken a body break up until 10. I think 5 minutes is left of the body break, and thereafter we'll be taking your questions. So you can prepare your questions in the meantime. In 5 minutes time, we will continue. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, everyone. We are back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Ms. Seku, who will assist us with the question With allowing your questions, she will look at the persons who have raised hands, and then she will allow you to raise your question, and then SACAP officials will then assist in responding. Thank you so much. Please, Ms. Seku, we can proceed with the question session.
Thank you, Ms. Lope. On the line, we have Lane Jacobs. We'll allow her to ask the question. Lane? Lane Jacobs? Please go ahead. Lane Jacobs?
We can go skip to the next one.
Okay, we'll move to the next one. Stanley February. Please go ahead. Mr. Stanley? Mr. Stanley? Okay, we're moving to the third one. Jeno, please go ahead and ask question. Jeno? The platform is yours. Okay. Please unmute yourself. Okay, we'll move to Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray?
Morning.
Morning.
I think my hand would have been up in an error. I didn't have a question, but thank you. I think the presentation is excellent, and it is guiding professionals. And I want to thank you, Chair Bessie, Loper, and the team. Well done. But my hand would have been up in an error. Sorry about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to Gio. Please go ahead and ask question.
Hi, good morning all, and thank you for the presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I would like to know is, I saw in the written questions, there was one question asking about, okay, what is deemed efficient or suitable for plans to be signed off? And the answer was that the plans need to be signed by the client and the architect. But can't we in this day and age with the electronics have it by email that we can send out the email to the client saying that we are at that point in the phases and asking for them to sign off or approve it by email, because we're not always in person seeing our clients. Sometimes our projects is far away and it's not possible to travel them to just have the plan signed off in person. And many of our clients are not proficient with programs as Acrobat to sign electronically. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Gio. Look, the intention of this topic is to avoid a situation where your client disputes the plans that you have submitted. So in this case, if let's say you're at a distance, and you have submitted the plans to the client. If the client confirms, so what we're trying to say is that we have it in writing as to say a milestone has been completed and we are going from this point to this point. So if the client confirms that, yes, I've indeed seen the plans and I've confirmed, right? Because sometimes RPs have what they call a power of attorney, wherein they will sign, but then indicate to them that we have a power of attorney, and then we will be signing on your behalf, and then this is where we are. Because we have complaints wherein a client will be calling and saying, no, I've never signed on these plans, and I've never seen these plans before. And then he has submitted them. So what we're trying to do is that we're trying to avoid that situation, because remember, you are preparing these plans for your clients. You are not preparing them for yourselves. So the client must be informed of how their plans are they being submitted, and have they been prepared as, because you never know what your client knows about architectural plans. Maybe they know that these things, maybe the exit is not at the correct place. Maybe the windows are not where the client would want to see, you understand? But presenting them the plans to them, for them to confirm and consent to say, yes, you may proceed to submit, that will be in order, because we want to have our professionals acting ethically, not trying to do things wherein you know that this is not what the client has said, but then you submit them anyway.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I understand 100%, and I mean that's the workflow that we follow. Is obviously through the design phase, we will be liaising with the client. That will be explain the design, and then prior to submitting, we will forward the PDF file of the plan for them to look at, and then confirm that that is what they want to have submitted. So that is in essence what you explained. So if we follow that route and they then give us confirmation via email that they're happy, then it's a green light.
Yes. So that will be considered as if you have informed them and then they have consented to the plans being submitted, so that we don't have, because when she comes and says, no, well, this is not what I informed him in terms of our agreement, in terms of our scope, but then you can say, no, but then I have sent you this email, and then you have given me the go ahead to submit, and then this is what I have done. Because remember, we are agents. We are not going to be doing as we please. We are agents for these people. They are the ones who have employed us. They are paying us, and then we must do as if she's saying, no, it's not, then let's look at it. And you would have in your terms of appointment indicate, okay, fine, if there are corrections that needs to be made, this is how we're going to charge, because that must be informed to them. If maybe, because some we have noticed that they might have, let's say, no, you can correct maybe 3 times. The 4th time, we will be charging you this and this and this. You understand? That must be clearly indicated to them, because some, they will just make corrections for 10 times, and then you would be getting tired of making corrections. You're probably going to end up submitting as they are, you understand? But have it clear to them to say, okay, fine, look, when I attend to these plans, this is what we're going to be doing. If there is a mistake, or because it's a process, remember it's a process, you'll be liaising with them. And then when they see that, okay, fine, he has done this and that, and maybe it's not how I wanted it to look. And then if you say, no, let's amend here, okay, fine, we'll amend here, and then on this fee, you understand? Because the moment you start saying, no, I'll amend it for a fee, then there's like, no, hold on, but then we didn't agree, you understand? So be open to this, to your clients, inform them, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who can complain.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Can I have another one, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Makakabule. We have Nadav online. Okay.
Go ahead.
Please go ahead, Nadav. Okay, we'll move to the next one. We have Selby. Please go ahead and ask question.
Good morning, colleagues. I asked this question on the Q&A, but I see it's not being answered. I see here they say indemnity cover is mandatory. I just wanted to know what is the minimum cover one can get for that?
So remember, it is not for us to say you as a professional, you would have you'd know the value of your projects. Maybe you probably have a project which is less than, let's say, 100,000, but then you have a cover of 1 million. So that cover, because not all of these complaints are going to end up going to your insurance or to claim it at your insurance. You will have a you will have you know, and also in terms of your category of registration. Remember, there are some, let's say, a professional architect. He is going to be preparing a skyscraper of, let's say, 100 million. I don't know how much they can be. The client, for them to be sure, they will then ask for the professional indemnity insurance, how much of a cover do you have with your insurance? So he must be able to indicate, so because obviously you'll be getting the fees, remember. So he must be able to indicate, so okay, this is what I have. So what we have now as SACAP, our code of conduct requires you to have professional indemnity insurance. You would know, as per your projects, how much cover you would have for a certain project. If you normally have, let's say, projects which are less than 100,000, it would be not convenient for you to have a cover which is probably, let's say, more than 10 million. If your projects, you're working around 100,000 kind of, you understand? So if it's, let's say, 100,000, it would then be not viable if you have a cover of 10,000, you understand? So you must limit it to a point of, you know, as a professional, the kind of work that you do, how much normally the value of your projects are, and then you align it with what is it? You align with the value of your projects, so that one day, if there's a need for you to be held accountable for that, for your client, you have enough cover to assist you, wherein you are not personally liable, but then you are professionally liable. So the professional indemnity insurance for professionals, it's not for candidates. So you will then be it will assist you in compensating your client if it gets to that point, but not personally, but professionally. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Makakabule. We have Jeno online. Jeno, please go ahead and ask question.
Testing, 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 testing.
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Ndam.
yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello, who you are you? Is it? Can you
Yes.
hear my voice?
We can
Yes.
hear your voice. You threw
Yes,
to the
yeah.
code of conduct webinar.
Oh, sorry,
Ben.
sorry. It's. Do you have it as Nadav here? I'm not sure if you have the right person here.
Yes, we have
Nadav.
Nadav Ben.
Hi. Good day. I just wanted to ask. I have a client who's did a previous project for, and I have his signature on the plans. Now we're doing another project, and he's overseas now. He's having difficulty conveying the signature to me. He said to me, can I use his signature from the previous plans? And he put it by email. I said, no, I would really prefer you to have a signature that is specific to this particular project, but he seems to not change his mind. What must I do about this?
Look, Mr. Nadav, it is we are in how can I say it? We're in the times of technology. So if you can be, because sometimes like the previous registered member asked if that can be allowed, if you can say if the email can be used. So it'll depend because what we are trying to do, Mr. Nadav, we're trying to have a situation where he does not come to say, no, I did not see these plans. You understand? We're trying to have a situation wherein you, the professional, are protected, and then you are not found wanting of of any unethical conduct that you would have found yourself into. You understand? So at this point, you are the one who's saying, no, I need your signature on the plans. I think, to be honest, I think this can be done. It's just a matter of him receiving the plans, printing them out, and then signing them, or him signing them electronically. I think it's very, we are in the world of technology right now. He can do that. However, if he can't, have it in writing to say, Mr. Client, I have completed your plans. Here are your plans. Please go through your plans. If you are happy with your plans, please give me a go ahead to submit. You understand? And thereon, a trail of email will assist you in the case where he says, no, this is not what I wanted. But then what you would have done, you would have indicated to him that here are your plans. I've prepared them. They are ready for submission. Can you please put your signature on? So if he says, no, I cannot put a signature on, please use that signature that I've given you for the previous plans. You would have a trail of that email to indicate that, no, this is what I have done, and then this is what he had said. And then for the building plan application to proceed, this is what he has informed me to do. Because remember, you are the agent. You understand? Let's just keep that in mind, that we are the agent, we are doing this for our clients, and then our clients have informed us that we should do this.
So from a legal point of view, I'm just hoping that I could somehow, as you say, in other words, I could somehow associate this signature from a previous project by an email that is made specific to this project, even though it actually applies to another project. I could make it specific to this project because it's of that email chain. I'm hoping that's true from a legal point of view in a dispute, also, I wanted to know, in previous times, the council would always insist on having a signature on submission of plans. How does it work now? I know that you advise us to, for the client to sign the plans, but is that necessary from the council point of view to have the signature on the plans, or just an email suffice that indicates that the client indicates that he has actually seen the plans by email?
So the municipal requirements will still be the municipal requirement. So what we're trying to do here is that we're trying to assist our members try to get their processes and workflow going. You understand?
Yeah.
So in the legal point of view, in terms of signature, what is important is consent and authority. You understand? If the person has consented and authorized you to sign off on their behalf, because we've like I indicated, that there are some professionals who have what they call a power of attorney, wherein the client would have given the power of attorney to submit on their behalf, but then submitting on their behalf does not mean signing on their behalf. You understand? If it requires your signature, it requires your signature, but then if you're saying, no, copy my electronic signature, put it there. So he has consented and he has authorized you to do so. So you can put that signature there for the compliance with the municipality, so that he knows and understands what he has done and then what he has instructed you to do.
Okay, thank you. So electronic signatures, that's something I've actually struggled with a bit. Electronic signatures then are acceptable, not as in the old days where they require a kind of like an inked hand-drawn signature, but it can be kind of copy-paste signature if it's got the client's consent.
No, that will still be on the discretion of the municipality.
Okay, that would be okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Mr. Makakabule. We'll allow 2 more questions. Then we'll start with our presentation at 10:30. Eldridge Soul, please go ahead and ask question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've got 2 questions.
Yes.
One, does SACAP have plans to roll out provincial offices in the near future, like all other professional bodies in other professions? And then 2.
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Will SACAP roll out provincial offices in the near future, like other professionals, like lawyers, accountants, and so forth? Because I think people outside the Gauteng region, our professionals are struggling. in that
we'll
regard.
answer that.
And then secondly, here in the Nelson Mandela Metro, and our municipality and building control officers are aware of this matter and they're just throwing a blind side to it. There's specific individuals, and I'm currently building a database of them with proper proof of what they are doing. You got candidates that's got office buildings with their names on it. And on the title block of a drawing, you have the person who signs for them and the guy that there's a candidate claiming that he has a practice already. So these are the matters that's concerning me in our metro here. I've complained to the BCO already. You just said he's not the police of SACAP.
Okay.
And people are still doing work outside the IDOW.
Okay. No, thank you so much, sir. I am aware of let me start with the second question. I am aware of of your question. I have already investigated one matter wherein we have recommended we've made recommendations to council in terms of punishment and sanctions to those members. We have received complaints. So members, what we do here at SACAP, we rely on you to assist us. You can lay a complaint anonymously. You can lay a complaint with us, indicating the issues that you're facing. We will investigate those complaints. So one registered member indicated that complaint about a candidate who has been performing architectural work in the Nelson Mandela Bay, indicating that this person has been performing architectural work, and actually how this RP found out was through a WhatsApp, community WhatsApp, wherein this candidate advertised his business on that community WhatsApp. And then that's where she saw that this is a candidate, and then he is performing architectural work, and maybe he does have an office, because the way we investigated, we found out that he does have an office and is working with a registered person, and the registered person is aware, the registered professional is aware of his company, of which that is not allowed. Because if you're going to be a principal to a candidate, you have a duty to make sure that they do not have financial interest in an architectural practice, and make sure that that candidate performs work under the direct control and supervision of you as a professional. So if he is going to be doing other things that you are aware of, then you as a professional, you are liable. And when we investigate, we're going to find you guilty on contravention of the code of conduct. Because what we are trying to do as SACAP, we're trying to make sure that only registered persons perform architectural work. Only registered persons, even if only registered professionals perform architectural work, not apprenticeships, not people who are not registered, and not candidates. Candidates are supposed to be working in your offices. You are the one who go out, look for work. You come back with the work. You then mentor the candidate in preparing that work. Not a candidate having his own practice somewhere else, and then he comes to you Monday to Friday. He comes to you on Sunday. Can you please put your signature here? Can you put your signature here? I need to submit on Monday. No, he must be working under you, under your direct control and supervision. So anything that your candidate does, you must be aware of it. If you're not aware of it, then the candidate will then be liable for whatever that is doing in your absence or behind your back. You understand? So we're trying to make sure that every time when we have this kind of engagements, we remind our professionals of their duty as principals to the candidates. And please, we have noticed that some and most of the questions are actually relating to the code of conduct, which registered persons are not reading the code of conduct. The code of conduct is not a book. It's probably you can finish it within 30 minutes just to go through it. Questions are being asked about mandatory of PI insurance. The PI insurance is mandatory to all registered persons, if you're going to be providing architectural work, you must have professional indemnity insurance. It's not a question to be asked, because the members of the public, if you now go to a lawyer, the lawyer must have his indemnity. If he wastes your money or steals your money, the society will be able to compensate you or give you money in terms of his negligence. You understand? So even our profession has that rule to say professionals must have professional indemnity insurance, and then in a case where there were negligence in their professional duty, the PPI must come in to assist them, because you are not going to be held liable personally. You're going to be held liable professionally, and the insurance will then cover that. You understand? Even on the health council profession, the doctors, you know, they are claiming on a regular basis. So professionals must have professional indemnity insurance. So on the first one, on the first question, the first question is about national offices. So what I had failed to indicate in the beginning is that let's focus our questions on the presentation that we have, so that we can best assist you in what we've prepared. But to tap in that question is that it's a council matter that they have discussed it on a few times. However, I'm not in a position to indicate when the offices will be rolled out. Of course, it will assist members wherein they can easily go to their offices, and because right now we are at we're in Johannesburg, we're a national office, and then some members cannot come through to us, but our emails and telephone calls, and we will be able to assist through those avenues. But in terms of walk-ins, if you're around, you can walk in, but it will assist obviously if we have our offices in all 9 provinces wherein we are visible to our members and the members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Makakabule. We'll allow one question from Udirile Musiman. Please go ahead.
Good morning all. Thank you for the opportunity. The question that I wanted to raise, it has been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Udirile. Then we'll go to Lucas Maposa, the last one. Lucas Maposa. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm late, man. I just want to ask here if the person maybe is draw on your behalf, is not possible that for you to tell us, I mean, to make any the municipality, all municipality, let's say the person is in a Cape Town and I'm in Pretoria and is using your name. And then can't you maybe make a plan of in a database of municipality to say it must be automatically shown that the plan is drawn by the name of this person, so that we can able to investigate on ourselves. What I mean to say, if maybe I investigate in Cape Town, there is no name of Lucas Maposa that has been submitted the plan with me without my knowledge. Can't you people make system that it can able to let us know if we request via the cell phone or whatever, so that we can know in Cape Town somebody is using my name? Because I hear many people that they say their name has been used, and when they investigate, they can't find that person who's using their name. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for your question. I think I understood your question. So, yes, it's a reality that we're facing, wherein we have your registered members' details being used by other persons who are not authorized to do so. So what we do, remember, if it has been submitted to SACAP, we would have, during our investigation, we can establish as to who prepared the plans. You might not be able to find out yourselves, but then we can, because if the plan has been submitted, we know that this plan has been submitted for this homeowner, and then this homeowner's details would have been there on the plans. So through the municipality and through our investigation, we can find out from that person as to say who prepared the plans, and then that person can now assist us. You would, if during our presentation, our colleague who will present on the criminal matters that we have made considerable progress in arresting members of persons who are using your registration numbers through that department. In our criminal department, we have our colleague who will then present on that, wherein he will then be going to the municipality. He goes to the homeowner, he takes the statement, assisting with the SAPS to try and find out who actually prepared the plan. So they can do that. But however, like I indicated from the beginning, some municipalities are ahead and some municipalities are behind. So let's take, for instance, in Cape Town, you can only submit through a portal. In Joburg, they are still rolling that process. I don't know if it has been complete because some still have challenges because it can't be thrown in because some will need to acquaint themselves with the process and the systems. So, but then I'm aware that in Cape Town, you submit through a portal, and when you submit through a portal, obviously you only can submit through that portal. So with engagement that we have with our stakeholder department, we're trying to get other municipalities on board to say this is how we can simplify this issue, wherein the plans have been where the plans are being submitted by other persons who are not the original registered members. However, as SACAP, what we did when we saw that these things are happening, we have a system called a privy seal, wherein the municipality can request a certificate and validate that certificate in real-time verification, wherein they can see that this person is this person. You understand? So it assists, but through our stakeholder and communication with other municipalities, there's a positive feedback. We have signed MOUs with them to try and assist us to combat these things, because obviously what we are trying to do is to protect the profession, and by protecting the profession, we make sure that only registered members prepare architectural plans, and we will also protect the public and making sure that they get proper and quality plans prepared by our registered members. And other members who are not registered with us, then they will have to be investigated and prosecuted by the SAPS. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Makakabule. We'll move to our second part of presentation. Over to you, Ms. Klope.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. And thank you so much, Mr. Makakavule, for attending to all. We will have another question session later on. We just want to really appreciate your insights as well. We will now proceed to Mr. Matebula, who will present in relation to taking over someone else's work project, what is intellectual property, and who does intellectual property belong to, architectural practices, as well as performing architectural, you will stop with architectural practices, letterheads, rules that relate to the naming of your practice, as well as listing your practice with SACAP. Thank you so much, Mr. Matebula, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Lope, and thank you, Mr. Makakabule, for your very, very valuable insight into answering the questions. Colleagues, I will quickly deal with the topics as they have already been indicated by Ms. Lope. Perhaps as a starting point, one needs to acknowledge that this code of conduct is mandatory to all registered persons, whether you are a professional or a candidate. you have got to comply with the code of conduct. Registered persons do not have any kind of discretion to exercise whether or not to comply with this one, or I don't like this one, I prefer that one, and so on and so forth. So failure to comply with the code of conduct amounts to improper conduct, and it may lead to prosecution and sanction. So colleagues, in dealing with the topic of taking over a project which has commenced, I want to begin by indicating that it is extremely important for a registered person who takes over another registered person's project to act with the requisite skill, diligence, competence, honesty, and integrity. So a registered person may take over another registered person's project in instances where a professional has been reached between the registered people. This could be between a fellow colleague and another colleague. This would be also in instances where a contract has been terminated between a registered person and their client, and so on and so forth. It is also important to note that registered persons should not knowingly undertake professional work in circumstances or conditions and terms that would compromise their ability to carry out their responsibilities and fulfill their commitments to their clients. This is in terms of Rule 1.4. I see in the presentation it was erroneously written as Rule 1.3. The actual rule that speaks to this is Rule 1.4. And we apologize for this typographical error. So, colleagues, it is also important for a registered person who takes over and uses work which was prepared by another registered person to do so on the written consent on authority of the originating registered professional. So, the South African Council for the Architectural Profession does receive a lot of complaints where you find that a registered person makes use of plans or drawings which were prepared by somebody else without them having to acknowledge that these plans were prepared by somebody else. So in such instances, such conduct is investigated. If it is found that improper conduct has been committed, the conduct is prosecuted. And if a registered person is found guilty, a sanction is imposed. So, colleagues, this point, it is linked with the discussion under intellectual property, which we will go to shortly. But before we go there, it is also important to note that registered persons are expected to only issue drawings, specifications, and documents in respect to work performed or administered by them or by a person in their employ which bears their name and registration number or the name of the architectural practice. This provision is in terms of Rule 4.4 of the Code of Conduct. Registered persons are obliged to sign and or identify building plans as having been issued by them if they are the bona fide authors of such plans and where the plans were prepared under their supervision. This is in terms of Rule 4.5 of the Code of Conduct. I will now cross over to discuss briefly intellectual property, what is it, and so on. So, colleagues, intellectual property is simply a product of the mind. It is as a result of creativity. Examples of intellectual property in our space are architectural designs and plans. So these are products of the mind, and they must accordingly be acknowledged as such. So in dealing with this particular point, I will revert to what I have discussed already to say that if any registered professional wants to make use of plans or drawings that were made by somebody else, they must accordingly be acknowledged. Because if they are not being acknowledged, the registered person who uses those drawings is in fact infringing intellectual property laws of the Republic of South Africa. So intellectual property law gives individuals property rights to their own original works so that they may derive some remuneration and recognition for their ideas or for their work. We'll proceed to the next slide. Intellectual property, who does the intellectual property of a plan belong to? So building plans and designs are the intellectual property of the inventors or makers or designers. Registered persons who wish to use other registered persons' plans and designs must get authority and consent from the originator of the work. Any person who infringes the intellectual property rights of another may be prosecuted by SACAP for contravening the Code of Conduct under rules 3.4, 4.4, and 4.5 of the Code of Conduct. Proceed to the next slide. We speak about rule 5. Under Rule 5, fellow colleagues, you will realize that Rule 5 specifically deals with the establishment of an architectural practice. So Rule 4.1 requires architectural professionals to inform the South African Council for the Architectural Profession within 30 days of the establishment of their practice, informing SACAP of the full details of the practice name, address from which the practice is conducted, type of practice supported with corresponding registration details, the names of partners, shareholders, directors, and employees undertaking architectural work in that practice. Registered persons tend to fail to list their practices with SACAP, which results in a contravention of the Code of Conduct. And SACAP has a form that registered persons must complete to comply with the rule within the specified time. The form and the process of informing SACAP is free, and the practice listing does come with an annual fee. Rule 5.9 of the Code of Conduct recognizes that registered persons' practices shall not use a type which portrays itself. Registered persons' practice shall not use a type which portrays itself by name to be in a higher category than that of registered principals who own the practice. This rule has been contravened by many registered persons whereby their practices are named using categories of registration that are higher than the category of registration of the principal in the practice. So oftentimes SACAP receives complaints where you find that a registered draftsperson or a technologist name their practice as architects. You find that someone calls their practice ABC architects, while they do not have any registered professional architect in that practice. So that is at variance with the Code of Conduct, and it is punishable before the disciplinary tribunal. We may then proceed to the next slide. Rule 5.11 of the Code of Conduct seeks to formalize and professionalize registered persons' documents. The letterhead of an architectural practice is a document presentation of the practice and its professionals. It should be able to describe the practice and also inform the public of registered persons responsible for the architectural work. Registered persons tend to omit their registration numbers, practice numbers, category of registration, and the names of their principals on the letterheads, which in turn results in a breach of the Code of Conduct. Registered persons are required to comply with clauses of Rule 5.11 at all times on their documents by amending their non-compliant letterheads to align with them. So what we often have as a contravention of Rule 5.11 is that registered professionals omit certain details of their practices and of their professional registration in practice numbers. So we recently have embarked on a drive to ensure that we encourage compliance, such that when we find that our registered professionals contravene this rule, we tend to engage them and advise them of the breach of the rule, and then seek to have them rectify their mistakes so that they become compliant. We do receive positive feedback in this regard. RPs do comply, and their documentation and letterheads become up to date and in order. Thank you, colleagues. That is my bit for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matebula. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for your explanations and going into depth on these contraventions. We will now move over to Mr. Nyaka, who will present on performing architectural work whilst not registered with SACAP. And then after that, we will have a body break and then come back for the last question and answer sessions. Thank you so much, everyone, for still being here. I hope you are all taking notes of these common contraventions, and hopefully will apply them to your day-to-day dealings moving forward with members of the public, municipalities that you are dealing with when rendering architectural work. Thank you.
Ms. Tope, we should take the body break for how many minutes?
I think what I was proposing was that maybe we can have the last presentation from Mr. Nyaka. Do you think it's time for a body break?
I think maybe we can continue.
Yeah, I also agree. Let's continue. And then after this last presentation, we'll have maybe a longer body break, and then we'll come back for the last question and answer session. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nyaka. You may proceed.
Thank you, Ms. Shope. Good morning to everyone. My name is Vuyo. My surname is Nyaka, and I am the investigating officer of the council. And I will be today presenting my presentation will be about license to practice. And I'll be taking you through some few slides. We should continue section 18.1, which is the categories, section 18.2, which is read with section 26, as well as section 41, which is the penalty provisions. Can you move to the next slide, Ms. Seku, please? License to practice, which is the South African Council for the Architectural Profession, registration is a prerequisite for practicing architectural, which is section 18, subsection 1, which contains the categories of registration, and section 18, subsection 2 of the Act, which is of the Act, a person may not practice in any category contemplated in subsection 1 unless he or she is registered in that category. And under section 26, subsection 3 of the Act, a person who is not registered in terms of the Act may not pretend to be or in any manner hold or allow himself or herself to be held out as a registered person, use the name of a registered person or a name or title referred to section 18 and or perform any act indicating or calculated to lead persons to believe that he or she is registered in terms of the Act. And we move to section 41, which is the penalty provisions. Section 41, subsection 1 states that a person contravening section 18.2 and section 23 is guilty of an offense. A person convicted of an offense in terms of this section 18 may be liable to a fine equal to double the remuneration received by him or her for the work done in contravention of section 18.2, or to a fine equal to the fine calculated according to the ratio determined for the 3 years imprisonment in terms of the adjustments of Fines Act of 1991. In terms of section 18 read with section 26.3, SACAP is legally charged to regulate the architectural profession in South Africa in terms of the Architectural Profession Act 44 of 2000. The Act, in executing its mandate, the Council is confronted with many profound difficulties in relation to unregistered persons that are performing architectural work while not registered with SACAP, and is in contravention of the SACAP legislation. These individuals are not only undermining SACAP's legislation, but are putting the lives of the public in danger. The Council is currently dealing with a number of complaints that are reported by the public that are related to the community being misled by certain individuals that portrays themselves as registered architects, and the fraudulent use of the municipality stamps on the plans. SACAP has appointed an internal investigator who conducts a preliminary investigation, and upon concluding the investigation, the complaint is referred to SAPS. The idea behind this is the enforcement of SACAP's prescripts. SACAP is discouraging the public from utilizing the services of the individuals that are advertising themselves online without due diligence. SACAP is conducting engagements across the country to educate SAPs as well as NPA officials about the Architectural Profession Act 44 of 2000. The members of the public are also included in these awareness programs. This is to educate them about the importance of the verification of the registration status of the persons they are appointing for architectural work. SACAP also publishes a list of names of unregistered persons who have been reported to be conducting architectural work without the necessary requirements. The purpose of the list is to alert members of the public about unregistered persons, and further to ensure that architectural work is preserved for registered professionals. Colleagues, if you can allow me to share one or two of our successes in a matter that was also finalized in the Palm Ridge Court. The matter was the State versus Mzozo. In an attempt to close the space of unregistered individuals that are performing architectural work, the Council received a complaint from a member of the public against an unregistered person that is performing architectural work. Allegations were that the member of the public was referred to the architect by the cousin, as she wanted the services of the architect. The complainant contracted the architect in 2022 to draw and submit the plan to the municipality for approval. She then paid the architect an amount of 5,000 for the services. The plan was approved, and so as to how that remains unknown and unresolved. The complainant was not satisfied with the services, the space of the rooms, and requested the architect to draft a deviation plan, and that's where the problem started. The architect agreed to assist her, but was not communicating very well with her at all. The complainant referred the matter to SACAP. The investigation revealed that the architect was previously registered with SACAP as a candidate professional technologist, but his registration was cancelled in 2018 due to the non-payment of the annual fees. This means that he was prohibited to perform or to render any architectural work. The matter was referred to Brackenstown Police Station in April 2023, and the architect was charged and appeared before Palm Ridge Magistrate Court for contravention of Section 18 right with Section 26 of the Architectural Profession Act 44 of 2000. The accused was granted bail. The matter was concluded on the 20th of March 2024 at Palm Ridge Magistrate Court. The accused was found guilty and sentenced to a fine of 10,000 rand, of which 8,000 rand, which was wholly suspended and for a period of 5 years, on condition that the accused is not convicted on the offense committed during the period of suspension. There was another matter of Mr. Madinga, the State versus Madinga, where Mr. Madinga was also found guilty in the Palm Ridge Court, the same court, and was also sentenced to a fine of 10,000 rand for fraud and 10,000 rand for contravention of our prescripts. And I believe that will be the end of my presentation, colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nyaga, for that. Much appreciated. And also thank you, everyone, for still being here with us. Just to summarize what we have went through, we have received presentations in relation to intellectual property, the applicable rules of the Code of Conduct. I do urge everybody to please read Rule 3.4, 4.4, and 4.5. This can also protect you when other people have taken over your work or have signed plans that belong to you as if it belongs to them. Obviously, we are here to help you as well. You can refer such issues to us. My email is also on the chat. And then we can be able to investigate these issues and assist you in ensuring that your work is protected when it comes to other professionals taking over your work. We've also looked at Rule 5 of the Code of Professional Conduct. This is an easy rule to comply with. It's very concerning that we are still receiving complaints regarding this rule. You need to just send communication to SACAP that you want to now list your practice with us, and then we will send you a form. You fill in the form, and then you will receive confirmation that your practice has been listed, and then you receive a practice number. This practice number must be on your letterhead. A lot of people are not putting their practice number on the letterhead, and I mean, this is a minor issue that you can easily comply with. And then also coming to Rule 5.9, we receive a lot of these cases where persons who are registered in a lower category try to name their practices as if there's a person in there who is a professional architect. This is really unnecessary. It's very misleading, and it's a pure mispresentation to the public and the persons that appoint you. And then you should be clear in all your documentation, be honest about your level of category, and obviously your practice should represent your category as a principal in that practice. And then we've also heard presentations in relation to Rule 5.11. Also complying with Rule 5.11 is very, very easy. You just go to the Code of Professional Conduct, look at the rule, and then you will see it lists everything that should be in your practice letterhead. And then recently we are allowing people to send us letterheads so that we can see if these letterheads are compliant with the Code of Professional Conduct. So therefore, we are always available to assist you with that. Rather ask, be sure, than to think that the letterhead is in order, and then you find yourself contravening such a rule that it's easy for you to comply with. And then we appreciate also the presentation that we have received in relation to persons rendering architectural work whilst they are not registered. There's a big change when it comes to this, and then we are taking all the necessary steps to ensure that people are caught who are doing this. And then we do encourage you to please rather send us if you see anything of such happening, and we will definitely investigate and give you feedback as well on this. And then that was a summary of what we have looked at now. I want to propose a body break for us all, and then that is the end of all the presentations that we had for you today. So after the body break, we can then maybe have another session of question and answers. I've also been attending to answering questions on the chats. My email address is also there. I will also list all the email addresses of us who are presenting here, so that should you have any issues after this or anything of such sort, you can send us an email. We will definitely respond timelessly. Thank you, everyone. The body break that we are proposing is up until, it is 10 now, up until, sorry, it is 11 now, sorry for that, up until 11:30. And then from 11:30, we'll come back for another question and answer session. I hope this is in order with everybody that is still here. Please do come back so that we can proceed. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. We are back and ready to proceed. Thank you so much. I hope all of you are also back. We are now ready for questions in relation to the presentations that were presented on before we did the body break. And then Ms. Seku will help us once again with allowing questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hlophe. We'll now give Ethel chance to ask a question. Please go ahead. Ethel?
Before she proceeds, Ms. Seku, I just want people to note also that we are responding on the chat as well. And I'm also receiving emails from some people are requesting assistance in relation to what is being presented, and we are also responding. So just bear with us and we will definitely attend to all your questions. Thank you, Ms. Seku.
Thank you, Ms. Trope. Ethel, please go ahead and ask question. Please unmute yourself. Please go ahead. Ethel, can you hear us? Okay, we'll move to the second person. Sitiwe Tubani, please go ahead and ask question. Sitiwe. Sitiwe. Okay. We'll come back. We'll now give Garabo. Garabo, please ask question.
There you go. Thank you very much. I've just been unmuted. Thanks. But the two before me are maybe taking two of their questions, but in any case, yeah, and I'll try to keep this short. With regards to social media, we keep seeing an influx of so-called architects. I would just like to know what the investigating committee is doing with that, or can they only respond to a complaint laid by the public? Does the investigation officer not have a right to request credentials from any architectural firm that's advertising as such? That's the first question I've got. With regards to intellectual property and copyrights, especially in tenders, with our previous sitting for risk work, etc., there was a SACAP officer who kind of liaises with a government or something like that. But what I'm trying to understand is that how are we protected from people using our work to bid? Then once they are awarded the work, they don't necessarily need to continue with the people they bid with, because the clients themselves hardly follow up to make sure that the architects who were bid with are the exact same ones who remain throughout the project. I'd like to know what SACAP can do in order to enforce clients or the public as a whole, and to stick with whatever the initial contract actually was. And then, yeah, that's more or less it. It was how can SACAP assist with holding the clients liable, even though they are there to protect the public more than anything else. Thank you.
Over to the team.
Thank you, colleagues. Let me just quickly speak briefly on issues of intellectual property. So in our discussion, we tended to limit ourselves to the code of conduct. So when SACAP has to investigate complaints, the view is to ensure that whatever conduct is being investigated is not against the code of conduct. In cases where it is established that the conduct complained of infringes and offends the code of conduct, that's when then we prosecute. But in general, if there would have been any issues where there's been an infringement of intellectual property, the parties that are concerned, they are at liberty to proceed and undertake legal processes outside of SACAP. But the long and short of what I'm saying is we are confined to the code of conduct. And if we have to act beyond that, we will then be acting ultra vires and outside of our scope. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Mr.
Can I hop on to that? Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Matebula. I will just speak to the part in relation to persons advertising and advertising the architectural services on social media. We are working on this. We are trying to find a way in which we can be able to attend to all the persons who are listing their practices and offering architectural work on Facebook, whilst they are not registered with SACAP. So we are just still looking into how Facebook is working in order to stop people from being able to actually share these services, and also to actually find a way in which we can ensure that these persons are referred to the SAPS. Though this far, I know that Mr. Nyaka is actually approaching them in a manner whereby he is seeking architectural work in order to be able to have proof that these people are actually rendering the work, and then referring such cases to the SAPS. So we will improve on this matter. And then once we have found a way that is best working, we will then also share, given updates to all registered persons. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. I think I've been answered on the social media one. With regards to SACAP overstepping and only looking at situations in regards to the code of conduct. I mean, when we submit our stuff, the client, government, whichever tendering agency or department is advertising, surely pull SACAP into all of this by asking for your SACAP certificate, this, that, and the other. Would it not then be in the client's interest for SACAP to ensure that the initial people who went into the bid are the same ones utilized, because it would be them still protecting the industry reputation and the public as a whole? So I don't see how it would be overstepping. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement, but I'm just trying to understand that SACAP overstepping, if it's still part of what they are supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no, you can continue, sir.
Just briefly, Ms. Lope, and then you will take over, because I'm just going to say a couple of words. So colleagues, indeed, SACAP does receive complaints of any kind. So the first point, or the first thing that we do, is to establish if we have jurisdiction. That is the starting point. If SACAP finds that there is jurisdiction to entertain a particular matter, there are various avenues that can be undertaken to ensure that a matter is dealt with and disposed of effectively and efficiently. Some of these mechanisms include dispute resolution programs. You could find that we could be in a position to entertain a particular case and try to mediate the issue between the parties. So that is as far as SACAP can go in dealing with such cases. Yes, you are quite correct to say that SACAP has a mandate to protect the members of the public. However, when we do so, we have got to ensure that we do not overstep our bound. Thank you, Ms. Lope. Maybe we can take over from here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matebula. And thank you, sir. We do appreciate your input as well. Obviously, all the inputs that we receive here today, we will be taking them into consideration as well, moving forward. I also just want to stress to all the persons that, when you are bidding for work, it's very important that you at least have something in writing that can at least protect you and also ensure that you are paid for whatever draft work that you are doing, so that at least you ensure that you do get something out of it. And most importantly, you apply that issue of saying that no one should be able to be taking over your work. So at least ensure that whatever you have drawn is protected, and then also ensure that you are being paid, or you have terms of appointment that allow you to be paid for whatever the sketch plans that you are doing. It's very sensitive for us to say we will choose who a person can appoint. I think that's also what Mr. Matebula is speaking to, but what we would encourage is that we have an open door policy. So if you're coming across an issue, something like this has happened, do let us know or send us an email, and then we will not reject you. We will see how best we can still assist in such a situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hlophe. We'll give Wesley. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, hi. Thank you for the presentation today. I just have one query regarding municipal submissions, and it kind of ties into the code of conduct of professionals. The one issue that we have encountered many times is with local authority not giving proper feedback and or even receiving plans for submission, and not giving something in writing in terms of their comments on the plans that they receive. Now, I wanted to find out, is there a mechanism for us as professionals to approach SACAP with regards to problems that we have with municipality? Because when it comes down to offering the service or doing our duties as professionals, we kind of get stuck sometimes with those issues, and obviously the clients aren't happy, and then they might, take us to task about not providing the service that we have the duty to do. So I just wanted to find out, is there a way that we can approach SACAP, or who do we need to approach? Is it possibly COGDA directly themselves? Because we have gone that route before with no answers. And if it is, does SACAP have the mandate to assist with those issues with municipal submissions? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Can I respond, Ms. Seku?
Yes, please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. In relation to municipalities, we do not have power or authority over municipalities. Obviously, they have their own regulations, and obviously they work in accordance to those regulations. However, what we do at SACAP is that if you have an issue with a municipality, you write an email to us. You just let us know what is happening, and that whatever issues you are coming across as registered persons in the area, or yourself as a registered person. And then Ms. Parke, who's also part of this webinar, we normally refer any email that we received to them, and then they will send communication to that municipality addressing those issues without necessarily specifying who we received the issue from, because we don't want an issue whereby now you are finding difficulty in future when trying to submit plans, or once you've submitted now, because we do not reveal your identity. We just table it as though in general, this is the issue that our members are receiving. And then for following such communication, in that communication, we normally request to have a meeting with the municipality, or for SACAP to come and do presentation, and then also table the issues that we've received from registered persons. So I would say you can send an email to me. My email is on the chat, but I'll also write it down on the chat again. And also legal at SACAP SA. And then once you've sent an email, we will then take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hlophe. We're moving to Emerson. Please go ahead and ask question. Emerson, can you hear us? Okay. We're moving to Moses. Moses Katsila, please go ahead and ask question.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, great. It's just a simple question that I have. Okay, let me rephrase. It's simple, but it might be difficult. Yeah, just looking at this whole thing, one of the biggest challenges that I find, yeah, for the years that I've been in practice is credentials for registered professionals being used illegally. And this is with specific to building plans that are submitted to municipalities. I know that at the moment, unless otherwise, SACAP relies heavily on the goodwill of municipalities and members of the public and all of us as RPs to basically report issues of misconduct by registered professionals or those that are claiming to be registered but they're not, yet they continue submitting building plans to municipalities. And I know the bigger municipalities, or some of them, have gone to an extent of creating these electronic systems that are able to verify and ensure that the building plans are being received only from RPs. Now, the biggest elephant in the room, I feel, is the smaller municipalities, or those municipalities that continue to accept building plans without verifying the credentials of the registered professionals declared on the drawings and the documents. Now, I wanted to find out, is there a way SACAP can make it, or can make these municipalities criminally liable as well for neglecting to verify RP details before they accepted the building plans? Yeah, because if the municipalities do not come to the party, it becomes almost impossible to enforce this part of the professional conduct, or even people that are illegally submitting in the names of RPs. It becomes almost impossible to monitor and enforce that. So I feel municipalities have got to be part of the solution, and it needs to be done in a legal way, I think. Thank you. Overall, the presentation is very nice, very insightful. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We also appreciate, I'll give Ms. Parker a chance to come in on this as well. Thank you, Ms. Parker. You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hlophe. In terms of the small municipalities, I just want to put on record that we do try to have what we call the registration campaign workshops. So we do go to them and just try to explain that these are the processes that they need to follow. And the other thing that we did is we have actually collaborated with the South African Local Government Association, which is SALGA, to basically tackle all those challenges. And what we found out from our engagement is that the challenge that these small municipalities have is actually capacity building. And that's what we are looking at to assist them in terms of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Parker. We really appreciate your insights as well. From our side, I think we appreciate your comments, sir. It is a big issue, and we fully understand that. I think that's why SACAP is trying its best to do these initiatives with the SR department, whereby we are going to these small municipalities to ensure that they are now complying by ensuring that only registered persons are submitting plans. it is something that is going to definitely improve because we are attending to a lot of these municipalities. And also we are trying to get MOUs with all the municipalities so that we are able to foster compliance. But what I would encourage you all is that if you know of any small municipality where there's this conduct, people are submitting plans illegally, or even where municipal workers are also submitting plans and approving their own plans, please let us know. We also depend on you to be able to identify where there's massive problem areas so that we can be able to address this issue. I think with the MOUs that we will be signing with the municipalities, this will now make it sort of like legal, as you are stating, to say that now there is something written down that does require them, whereby they've agreed that they will ensure that only registered persons are submitting plans. So we've really tried with the privy seal. We are really trying with the MOUs, and again, SR is doing its utmost best out there. Almost every week they are attending to a municipality issue, where we're receiving such issues from registered persons or also from members of the public, letting us know what's happening in these municipalities. So just bear with us. It will definitely improve on this issue. And then also what I wanted to mention was if a municipality is continuing to not comply, as Ms. Pake mentioned, we are having an agreement with SALGA, so we will be able to refer that municipality to SALGA because SALGA is actually the authority that is responsible for all municipalities in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lope. We're now moving to Katu.
Thank you and good morning. My question is with regards to the copyrights of plans. When we have a department that gives professionals so-called standard drawings that they must take and own those standard drawings, is there anything that SACAP can do maybe to communicate with the department, because what they tend to do is that they give professional standard drawings, but with that, they say we must own the drawings as if it's our drawings. The drawings that they issue have got a department logo on, not a previous architect. So we don't even know whether the person who worked on the drawing has given consent on that. So is there anything that as a council you can do, whether to advise the departments, because some of the times when we advise them, they don't take our advices. That is what I just want to find out.
Okay. Thank you. I'll take that, Ms. Seku.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Yes. Our colleague has indicated, it is very much important to put it down in writing before you what is this? You are appointed, because what is happening right now, it's not a first, you're not the first, and we have situations wherein we have been let me give you this scenario how it works. So you apply for a tender, you get the tender. You prepare the plans from stage 1 until stage 4.1. The plans are approved, right? However, you have not indicated to the municipality in your agreement with them that these plans will be used in which way. You prepare the plans, and then from there on, when the department starts using those plans, it is not the municipality. The municipality will use those plans obviously to construct, right? So your name will be there, and the department stamp will be there to say that this plans belongs to the department as the client, and you are the plan drawer as the architectural professional. However, you will have a challenge when the department, let's say if it's schools, because the departments will be, let's say they want to build 10 schools, but then they've appointed you for one, and then you have gotten a fee for one. So in your agreement, you have not indicated to say if you're going to duplicate this on, or no, not necessarily duplicate, if you're going to still construct based on these plans on a different location, that then becomes what copyright infringement, because your plans, the ones that you prepared, are prepared for the purpose that is intended for, which is to construct on, let's say, Matatiela Section B, primary school. However, they then go and construct, they construct on Matitela, and then they go and construct again in Petersburg, let's say in Polokwane. So that is when it's copyright, because what you had done, you had prepared the plans for Matatiela, and then that is what you had done. So it is quite critical for you to make sure that should you construct, use these plans for any other purpose than what is it intended for, I will get a certain fee, let's say a certain percentage of that project wherever it goes. So for this one, you would have been paid for this one. So that's why we're trying to say, if it is still within, if it's still within the same place where you prepared the plans, and then they have to get, let's say, you prepare the plans from stage 1 until stage 4.1, the plans are approved. Now going on, they then terminate your services because your agreement was to get the plans approved, and then now get another professional, let's say, to come and oversee, and then the professional is still using those plans. That professional can use those plans for what? For what he is doing with the construction, not to alter or anything, but to make sure that what is being built is as per those approved plans. Not to say that he must use them to build them elsewhere or maybe make changes on that. No, you understand? So your agreement is very much important, so that if there's anything that you should be, if anything that you should see after that, then you can be able to say, no, you have contravened on the agreement. Our agreement was that I'm preparing plans for this and not for that. And then what you have done is that you have now used my plans for a different location of which it was not the agreement, and you have not paid me the certain percentage that you had indicated on the plan. So contractual, all those things are contractual dispute, and you must try to make sure that you are covered and your intellectual property and or copyright is protected at all times. Thank you.
Sorry, can I just have a follow-up on that one? If for instance, I'm on the receiving end, somebody else did the layout and everything, stage 1 to stage 4, and then the department appoints me as another professional for another school. I'll use the example of the school. And then they've taken those drawings that somebody else did, but then on the drawing, it does not state that this was done by this profession, but it only indicates that it's for Department of Education. And then when I was appointed, I'm appointed still from stage 1 to stage 6. But then I'm given these drawings that I must work with for this school. I must submit those plans to the municipality, which is another different area. So I'm taking those and submit there. But then my question is on that one, I will not know the profession who has done that, whether that professional has actually given consent to say these plans must be used for that particular school that I'm working on now. Because that plans, yes, I'm taking over from that.
Okay, so in your day-to-day dealings with whoever, you must always make sure that you are not contravening the code of conduct. So the code of conduct would request you or requires you to inform, in terms of rule 3.4, inform the previous architectural professional of what your intention with his or her drawings. Because when we look at, if the complaint comes, and then you are the one who has worked on those plans, the code of conduct is an ethical document wherein we'll be looking at your ethics. What have you done? Because there's no way that plans can just be drawn by nobody. There's no way that plans can belong to nobody. So you have a duty to make sure that you contact your employer to say, I have these plans, and as per the code of conduct, I am required to inform this person of what I intend to do on these plans. You understand? The department must be able to, because obviously the previous plan drawer or the previous professional was a client to the department was a client to the professional. They must be able to produce that document to say, no, look, this is what we have done. And this is who we had appointed, and it is our intention, because you shouldn't be there shouldn't be conflict of interest between yourself and money, wherein you want to focus on money and not focus on the professional ethics. Because if that happens, then we do not have authority to bring the department to book. Yeah, you understand? But then you will be embroiled in a situation where you and the department have contravened the copyright of another professional.
Okay. No, thanks. I'm answered. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Makakabule. We now move into Karin Snyman. Please go ahead and ask question.
Hi, good afternoon. I've got a question. If I go on the SACAP website to find a registered professional, the websites show a faulty error, and I don't know if it's on my side or if the website is not working properly. Can you please look into that? Even if I put in my own name, it just says there's an error on the system.
Okay. Okay, no, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention, ma'am. What we'll do is we will send communication to our IT department to just check what's happening on the website. And then in the meantime, you can send an email to any of us. My email is bc.klope@sacapsa.com. You can just send an email asking about the registration status of whomever you are trying to verify, and then we'll help you, but we will see to it that the IT looks at the website and attends to this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now move into Horata. Please go ahead and ask question. Horata. Please go ahead. We can hear you. Horata. We move into.
Hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. Please go ahead and ask question.
Okay, thank you very much. I was saying I asked a question earlier before we went on the body break, and my question is, if you have a contract with, say, a third party, like a building contractor or developer, and you don't have a contractual relationship with the owner of the title deed of the land, what kind of consent suffices to indicate that the title deed owner indeed approved the development, even in terms of submitting to the municipality for approvals? How do you ensure that you are not contravening your ethical requirements? Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So you, I just want to get this through you, Mr. Ku. I just want to get this this question correctly so that I can be able to answer it correctly as well. So you are appointed by a third party.
Yes.
And then and then you need to submit these plans to the municipality. So in compliance with our earlier presentation, how would you make sure that, because now your relationship is a triangle relationship wherein you should be able to, once you have received your scope from the third party, take it back to him to indicate that this is what we have done as per the scope, and then this is what we require for submission. I don't think it should be unless if there is other hiccups on it, which we are not aware of, but then I think it should be a process flow when you are done with your work as per the scope, when you are ready, you present it to them for them to do what they need to do, because we are all agents. We are all agents here. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we do not move away from that. We then have a process flow of documents to say this is what is required for the documents to be submitted, because the municipality, if the municipality does not accept your plans because of them being not signed, when it comes to us, we would look at what would have a normal architectural professional have done in that situation. You understand? Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So
Okay.
you follow back to your employer, which is the third party, to say the plans are completed. Can you please finish us with this so that we can proceed with submission?
Okay, so in the case that the third party actually issues you the go ahead, and they even issue you the title deed, a copy of the title deed, how do you proceed without you having direct contact with the owner of the land?
No, remember, your appointment is with the third party, right? So the third party is the one responsible to make sure that that gets through to the title deed holder. Yes, and then from there on, they should, because remember, that's why I'm emphasizing this thing, that we are agent. We're agents, because the person who wants that house, the person who's going to be living in that house, is the the title deed holder. The agent is between the third party, or the developer is, his interest is to get the house completed, and your interest is to get the plans completed. So on your end, what you need to do is you need to get that confirmation or that signature from that homeowner. So he, the developer, must be able to make a process flow for this to happen.
Yeah, I think just to give a bit of context, not to extend this too long. This is, for example, a filling station, which is operated by like a national developer for filling stations who also operates it. So basically the person owns the land but hands it over to the operator / developer to proceed with the development. But thank you very much. I think I do understand the requirements and what one has to do to protect themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. We're now moving to Fabienne Manuel. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
I'm doing my apprenticeship under a mentor of a professional architectural technologist. Okay. My questions is regarding his mentorship, the way I'm being taught within the industry. The first part of my question is when it comes to submissions and filling in forms. Am I allowed to do that as apprentice who doesn't have a registered number or anything like that? And the second part is, since I'm currently working from home, I'm not receiving a salary from him. So I'm basically put on my own work.
Mr. Fabian.
Yeah?
Sorry, Mr. Fabian. Before I think with your first question, I can be able to answer the rest of the questions. Maybe they will be aligned.
Okay.
If you are an apprentice, if you're in an apprenticeship, you are in the same category as a candidate.
Yeah.
So you cannot perform any other work than the work that will be provided to you by your mentor.
Yeah.
So if there's any remuneration that is there, it should be remuneration for the work that you have done as an apprenticeship, not from any client. You cannot have clients, you cannot have a firm, you cannot have any interest in an architectural practice rather than the work that has been provided to you by your mentor. So you are under a program. So after that program, after you've done what the apprenticeship program requires, you will then be promoted to a certain category of professional. That's when you'll be able to perform work on your own, for your own account.
Okay. Yeah, because that was actually the second part of my question. Because I don't receive a salary from him. You see, so I'm basically self-sustainable. So I have to go out and find my own work, do my own work.
No,
give it to
no.
him
I think what I was saying is that you are under your mentor. The agreement should be between you and your mentor in terms of any fee that must be given to you. So other than what I'm saying in terms of your responsibilities, that is not allowed. You can't have a client, you don't have professional indemnity insurance, you don't have a professional registration number, you are an apprenticeship registered as a candidate. You only perform work for your mentor. It's unfortunate that there is no fee. What you're saying in terms of you do not get a fee from him, but he should be able to give you a fee for the work that you've done for him.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But now my question is, because I'm not getting work from him, you see, basically
Yeah.
he's lost the last conversation we had. I'm basically almost like self-employed under his supervision, something like that.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Let's not focus on that, Mr. Manuel. If your mentor cannot provide work for you, it means you're not getting the program correctly. The program is meant to give you experience in the field of architecture. It means if you do not have any work from your mentor, get another mentor to assist you, and maybe things will change in terms of the fees there. That will be in terms of your salary there, if there should be any. Please do not do anything outside the scope of apprenticeship program.
No, thank you very much. Because that was actually a concern of mine. Whether, like I said, whether I'm working within the scope of the code of conduct and so forth.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
We're now moving to Robin. Please go ahead and ask question. Robin?
Yes, thank you very much for taking my question and for conducting this seminar. Very interesting. My question just relates to IDAR, you know, the different categories in which registered professionals can undertake work. And I was very interested in the discussion around local authorities that happened earlier related to Moses's question. And mine is an extension of that question, and it really relates to whether local authorities have any obligation to enforce IDAR. Basically, what's happening in a lot of the areas, including my area, is that registered professionals are doing much larger work than they permitted to do in terms of IDAR. So I was just wondering if any of the MOUs that you'd outlined actually included the responsibility that the local authorities should enforce that. Thank you.
Basically, can you assist that? I was responding to other messages on the.
I thought there was a cut off. Was the question completed? Can you please just repeat your question, sir? Sorry, I'm also responding on the chat, but I thought he was cut off, but if he may just come back again. Thank you.
Okay, just to repeat my question and to simplify it.
Thank you.
The question is, in the memorandums of understanding that you've undertaken with any of the local authorities, is there any requirement for the local authority to enforce IDAR? Because basically a lot of registered professionals are undertaking work that is bigger than what they're permitted to do, and yet the local authorities don't seem to do anything about it. So
Okay.
it really goes around IDA and the code of conduct and how local authorities or SACAP enforce that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sir. Yes, the IDOW is enforced and obviously it's applicable. So yes, municipalities must go as per the provisions of the IDOW. What's expected is that when they receive a building plan and they can see that the person who's submitting the plan, category of registration, it does not allow for that level of work. They are supposed to reject such an application and obviously give reasons that it's not complying with the IDOW. This is a requirement also with us when it comes to the MOUs that we are signing. What we can do, it goes back to being you as the registered persons who are seeing these things happening out there to just let us know that, you know, in this municipality, we've noticed that the IDOW is not being applied. And then we will not, as I mentioned before, we will not then say, oh, this and this so person informed us. We will then take it on as that, you know, this is a concern that is coming from professionals, and then we will then seek to ensure that that municipality does enforce the IDOW. So just you can bring it to our attention via email. Let us know what you see in the area so that we can put a stop to this. The IDOW must be complied with. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lope. We now moving to Jennifer. Jennifer?
Thanks. Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks, colleagues, and thanks for the seminar this morning. I just want to contribute to the discussion that was, for the question that was raised by, I think it was Ms. or Architect Mafua. I didn't get the name properly, but she was talking about the war contract that she had undertaken with the municipality, and in terms of the drawings, the use. I just wanted to emphasize this once again, is that, colleagues, when we deal with government in any way, whether it's a municipality, a province, national department, any department, you need to be clear on what you have signed up for. I mean, like our legal expert was explaining to her that you need to first check what did you indicate in the contract. For instance, did you indicate that you need to indicate to the municipality that you will be contacting the architect who did the drawings in the beginning before you undertake the work? I mean, you need to bring that to the light of the municipality. Like our legal team was indicating to you, that is your obligation. It's not obligation of the municipality to do that. And then my also advice for anyone on the call who still has work with a contract with government, before you undertake that contract, you need to really be clear on what you are signing up for. For instance, the whole issue about saying, now my drawings are being used in another place and another place. In the beginning of the contract, you were supposed to indicate that these drawings are for this area, for Joburg, in Gauteng, at this place, right? And then you need to indicate that upfront in your contract. Now, should you note, then obviously there comes in the risk that now when you find your same design is being used in another place in Johannesburg, then you think that it was government who was not honest to you. But while it was your role in the beginning to make sure that you are very clear on the contract, and you should have indicated to the municipality or to the state that this is what is required. I'm going to contact the previous owner of these drawings. I'm going to be very clear on the code of conduct. I'm going to be very clear on what my scope of work is. I'm going to be very clear on timelines and so on. It is our role as architects to state that to the state. If you do not, then obviously, as long as you have done work for the state, that leaves you open for your drawings that you've done in 2024 could be used for the same hospital in 2026 in another place. But you need to indicate these things upfront. Thanks, colleagues. I just wanted to emphasize that part for anyone on the call dealing or intending to work on designs with government. You need to be very, very clear. First of all, you need to state what are the different stages of design you're signing up for, what will be your product, what are the timelines, what will be your copyright, and etc. You need to state this to the state. You always need to remember that some of the people who are issuing these tenders are not in the architectural profession. So if there's a tender for designing a hospital and blah, 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 as the state is looking at that we are going to design a hospital X in Johannesburg over the next 10 years. So you as the architecture professional, you should be able to tell the state that, okay, I see this, I understand this, but this is the scope of work, this is what will be expected, this is my output, these are the rules, this is what's expected of me in terms of my architectural conduct, and this is what I'm going to do. That should be really clear. Thanks, Chair and colleagues, thanks for the seminar. I just thought I'll put that in response to Ms. Mahua and anyone else who has a similar question about contracts that have been undertaken with the state. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mirembe. We highly appreciate your insights and stressing the issue again of making sure that you understand what you are signing up for. Usually in these agreements, there are issues where it's written what will happen to your plan or the copyright issue. And also, I think the most important thing is that you need to read the agreements that you are signing into, as you are saying, Ms. Mirembe. No, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Seku.
Thank you, Ms. Lope and Ms. Jennifer. We now move into Reganath 9. Please go ahead and ask question. Mr. Nai, can you hear us? Okay. We now move into Vivian. Please go ahead and ask question. Ms. Vivian. Ms. Vivian. Okay. We move into Nkabata. Samuel, please go ahead and ask question. Nkabata.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir. Please go ahead and ask question.
Okay. My question is, if you are employed in a multidisciplinary firm and it has different branches, and the architect who is mentoring you for the apprenticeship is in a different location, but you meet once a month, and the amount of work you do during the month is split between architectural work and engineering work. How do you record your monthly training report?
Thank you so much, Mr. Nkabata. What I had indicated earlier on is for us to grab the insights of this presentation will be for us to focus on what we are presenting on, as we have been deployed from the legal department to address the issues of the code of conduct. So that one belongs to our other department, which is in the registration department, the education department, wherein I'm sure they will be able to assist on that and give guidance. If you approach SACAP and ask to speak to either Ricky Moodley, or you can speak to Gugu, they will be able to assist you with that question. So if we attend to the presentation, I think we'll be so much ready to assist on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Makaka. Will also just to add, sir, you can send an email to ricky.moodley@sacapsa.com. There are similar questions to this on the chat. I have written his email down there. If you can see it, please send an email. He'll definitely assist you very, very quickly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Hlophe. We now move into Graham. Please go ahead and ask question. Graham, can you hear us? Okay, we're moving to Salome. Please go ahead and ask question. Salome, can you hear us?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead and ask question.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for the webinar. It's really informative.
Thank you.
I just like to find out, or not find out, a lot of runners, there's a lot of runners running for architects, which a lot of them do have a lot of experience, and a lot of them are just only general members of the public. And I've noticed, and a lot of them just do what they like, basically, on documents, on plans, and it's quite a worry, actually. In the end, it's your personal indemnity. It's you that gets in trouble if they just do anything that they like to do, and it doesn't always get back to you. And the client comes to you and they ask you what's happening with this, and you don't know anything about it. So, my question is, isn't there some kind of regulating body that can be created for a runner that they can register to? And maybe also a type of identification of work and experience by means of maybe a CV of the experience before they can start running. I know it's agreement between an architect and a runner, but in a way to how can I say, to regulate them in a way as well. Because it's just basically general members of the public. And I would just say, in a way, they must be regularized as well for doing such work. That's my question. That's just maybe something that's I've had in mind, that could be beneficial for them as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I think this one will be a quick one. Unfortunately, we can't regulate runners. Remember, runners came to the picture because of architectural professionals not having enough time to go and submit the plans while they are preparing other plans. So it is through, I can say, our economy, where we have people that are doing that. So a runner can be a runner today, and tomorrow he can be something else. So we as SACAP, we are focused on the professionals, to register professionals, and not other stakeholders of the profession, like your runners. I don't think they can be professionalized as yet, because that will demand a different kind of engagement and topics to discuss that. Because as it is, the reasons why we're here is because of there are requirements. You must get to a point where you are qualified to be a professional draftsperson, a professional architect, a professional technologist. So runners are there to assist you guys. I think it will then rest on you as a professional to make sure that your runner is a person that is trustworthy, a person that can discharge the duties that you require them to do. Because at the end of the day, if plans have been if plans have been drawn and not submitted by a runner, you can't respond to SACAP and indicate that no, my runner is the one who was, no, it's your responsibility. You make sure that the people that you work with are as trustworthy as possible, and they're working with you in good faith. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Makakavule. Now moving to Mandla. Mandla, please go ahead and ask question.
Good afternoon. My question is on the basis of working with government on contracts. I think that matter has not been dealt with properly. Maybe we need some understanding on the matter. We are on database of different departments, and you'll find that the project is awarded by Public Works, but they're getting it from education. You're doing a school, for example. The school was designed 5-10 years ago by another architect, and now they want to do schools around your area. They will appoint, let's say, 10 different architects for different sites to do the same school. That is why you'll find that all the schools around are the same designs. So my question is, do we as RPs have to go back to the same architect who designed the school some years back and report to him that we are now going to use your drawings because we've been appointed by the department? Now it goes back to say, if I was appointed to do the designs in the original stage, I would have been paid from stage 1 to stage 3 or stage 4. And now the other architects who are doing the same school, which was designed by me or another architect, will then be paid from stage 4 to, let's say, completion of the project, if they have to do all the other stages, like project management up to close out. So now, my worry is we cannot all go to the same architect and report that we are using. That should have been addressed between the department and that original architect. That's my take. So that when you are out at a project, you know you're starting actually from stage, let's say stage 3 or stage 3, because now you won't be paid for designs and all the other things. You are only getting paid for the work that we have done from that particular stage. So how do we deal with that?
Okay, thank you, Mandla. Let me start from the beginning. The reason why we have this clause on the code of conduct is for architectural professional to work with each other in a collegial manner, not to take some other person's work while some other persons are still busy with the drawings, or maybe they come up with a cheaper fee or however. So let's get back to the question. We indicated from even Ms. Mirembe indicated that have your contract and have your work protected. It is your work that is being protected. So there is a situation where you find that we are saying in terms of Rule 3.4, contact the previous author. So this is I think what we had failed to indicate is when do you contact the previous author. So let's say, for instance, you have been appointed from stage 1, and then the plans have not been approved, and then maybe it's now at stage 3. So that is where you need to contact the previous guy, because he would have the plans are not yet approved, and then you're going to use that guy's plans. If you're going to use another registered professional's plans in completion of the plans to be approved, that is where you need to inform him to say, no, look, I've got your CAD drawings. and then I see you're on stage 3, and this is what I'll do, and get the plans approved. That is when you are going to do what? We are looking at, let's say, for instance, it's a book. Someone is busy writing a book, and then you want to come, the book is not completed, is not yet being published. You want to come and start writing and continue writing on that person's book. Then you need to contact him and inform him of this is what I intend to do. You understand? He must give consent to that, and then you can proceed. However, let's say the book has been published. Now the plans have been prepared, right? The plans have been prepared. The plans have been at the plans are with the department. They have been approved, and then you are appointed from stage 5 to stage 6. So in that stage 5 to stage 6, your job is to make sure that the construction is constructed as per the approved plans. Unless if there is a need for you to come up with construction drawings, you will be doing that, and there is no need for you to contact the previous guy, because construction drawings are what is happening here, not what you are not infringing on his copyright or his intellectual property. You are now, the plans have been completed. The guy has executed his what? His appointment. And then now, because construction is a live, let's still call it a process, it changes. This might not be how the plans were, you understand? And as per specifications, it changes. When it changes, then it must, you must also submit as build plans. But as long as you're not going to use that guy's plans, you understand? So if you're going to be using that guy's plans, let's say on stage, he has designed, there's concept drawings, and then you're going to now still work on them. You understand? So we have a situation where someone came and said, no, my plans have been used. And then when we looked at the scopes were different. You see, so if you're going to be appointed on a different scope, it's different. You are going to start from scratch from your own drawings and do what you need to do because the scope has changed. Now you're doing something else. This person, if you're going to be appointed for the same scope and then you're appointed before the plans approved, then you must make sure that you inform the previous author to say, no, look, this is what I intend to do. And then if you are in the, let's say, if there is Mandla who has raised this topic, and there's Ms. Mahua who was in this webinar, and she's aware that no, because I am being appointed initially for this plan for this project, this is what I must do. This is what I must cover myself. You understand? Then we would have, she would have covered, she would have made sure that if the plans are going to be duplicated for another thing, this is what they're going to be paying me. If they're not, it means they are not using my plans. My plans are, I have only been prepared for a stand in Sandton at First Avenue Street, and that's it. But then if I find them on in Limpopo somewhere, then it means now they must pay me as per our agreement. I don't know if I've touched on 2 topics, but what we're saying is that make sure if you are the initial author, protect your work, protect your copyright, protect your intellectual property, wherein if your work is going to be reproduced somewhere in a different location, you can get remunerated for that. And the guy who is coming in, he will have to see that, okay, fine, if I am not reproducing that work, if I'm doing something else from that original appointment, I do not have to consult with my previous colleague. But then if I'm going to work on the same exact plans, wherein I'm going to be altering here and there, then I must inform him of my intentions. Thank you, Ms. Eko.
Chair, can I support?
Yes, ma'am, you may go through.
Thank you so much. Architect Mandla, I just want to support as well what legal expert Makavule has said. You see, this thing is simple. It's not even complicated. When you're dealing with government, right? The first question is, what are you signing up for as an architect? Are you signing up to develop new drawings from stage 1? Are you amending drawings? Like you've given a very good example. You've said that sometimes the school was designed 10 years ago. So you're brought in on board now. So what is the brief? What is government asking you to do? Or are you being appointed to supervise drawings that were completed, submitted, approved? So what is your contract? Now, just like our legal expert, Makafule has already said, if you understand the contract then and the contract now, then there shouldn't be a problem. But colleague Mandla, what you're saying is that that's the role of public works. Public works should sort out that. There's nothing to sort out. The code of conduct is just asking you to inform your colleague that, listen, I've been appointed to supervise the construction of your drawings. So I'm informing you that this is what I'm going to do. Because your colleague has already been paid for the stages they did. So you're just informing them that you're carrying on. Because you are not the author Mandla of the drawings. So your role is to inform me that, Dr. Jen, I'm taking over your drawings to build the school that you designed in 2020, right? But then, should you be appointed to supervise the contracts? I mean, the construction of drawings that were undertaken by Dr. Jen, same thing. You just inform me that you've been appointed to do, because you might find that, what if I was also appointed already to supervise the construction and we had a fallout? So it's just a code of conduct that's requiring us professionals to just be cautious and just inform your colleague that, you know what, I'm taking over this project. Most times you find that there's no issue there, actually. You're just informing them. But if you leave that to public works, then herein comes the problem, because now you're already busy with the design of someone else in another venue doing this work, hence the confusion. So colleagues, some of these rules in our code of conduct are put just to protect us as professionals and to make sure we are collegial to our colleagues. So in summary, Manda, it's just about what was the contract then, what are you being appointed for? Is it to develop, to amend, to supervise? These are three different things. And you too, Mandla, know, you've been in the field for long. You too know when you should contact me and say, Dr. Jen, I have your drawings, or not to contact me. You can see it. It's not that complicated. But all I can summarize for all of us colleagues is, when you're dealing with the state as an architect, just be clear on what you're signing up for. If the contract or the tender or the call for proposals just says design proposals, always remember that the person calling out for this tender is not an architect, right? The minister is calling out for a call for design proposals. So we as professionals, I think, would be quite unfair to sit on the other side and say, oh, no, look at this now. We've done all our designs. No, you are supposed to break down for the political body and say, you know what, this is what you're calling for and this is what you're asking for. Either amend the tender or we're going to go ahead and this is what we're able to do for you within the call for work. Thanks, colleagues, and back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Doctor. Members, our webinar has been scheduled from 9 o'clock to 1300. So we'll take one last question. And members who did not get a chance to ask a question, we will request them to send us an email and we'll be able to respond to that. Now we're going to give Bachan a chance to ask a question. Bachan? Bachan, can you hear us? Okay. All right, then we'll give Ms. Vivian Smith a chance to ask a question. Vivian? Okay. We will give Athlon chance to ask a question. Ethel? Okay. We'll move to another member. We'll give Jeno a chance to ask a question. Okay. All right, it looks like members are sorted with questions and will ask Ms. Hlophe to take over.
Sorry, but I've had my hand up the whole time.
Okay, please go ahead and ask questions, sir.
Hi, thank you. I think this might fall a little bit out of the boundaries of this conversation, but I do feel it actually needs to be considered more strongly to be part of this topic of professional practice and conduct. It's a matter that so many architects and draftspeople are charging way too low fees, and that has a major impact on the industry. I take myself, for example, I work and live in a small town, and there's two other professionals in town, which undercuts the fees to the degree that it makes me impossible to actually keep up my side of paying my dues to SACAP, attending CBD points and so forth. And I think it is something that needs to be addressed. I know that SACAP has in the past said it falls outside of your jurisdiction to make sure that people is actually charging proper fees. But I take also then into consideration that since I started practice, how many things I had to change and amend, and the rules that apply to me has changed. So surely it is something that should be able to be looked at to be make it part and parcel of SACAP's duties and fall within the umbrella that SACAP attends to. Hello?
Thank you, sir. We have acknowledged your question, your statement, and we have a number of committees here at SACAP. We do have a fee committee wherein even the fee guideline, I don't know if you're aware of the fee guideline, where the committee developed that fee guideline. So we will take it from here and go back to our respective committees to indicate to them also in the education department and all other committees that the RPs or members have raised in relation to matters that are relating to the profession itself, to address it. And I'm sure on another time we will have a different response on this, as the committees do have an ongoing conversation on these matters. And because I mean, you're quite right that it does not do any justice to the profession when one charges ridiculously low, and then it puts the whole profession at risk. That some people are just charging whatever they charge, that so that they can go ahead. So, but then I'm sure we'll bring this to the fee committee, and then they will be the best persons to discuss this and make sure that they come back to us with much needed information to pass through to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair,
Makakapule.
can
We're
I
now
support?
coming to the end of our, sorry, ma'am.
No, I just wanted to support our legal expert Makavule on his response to Mr. Cloet. Mr. Cloet, just last week, in addition to what Atim has just said, just last week, Kyo, not sure if you missed that one, there was a whole seminar on risk, work undertaken at risk, and this matter was actually discussed. So in addition to knowing that there's a professional fees committee, this matter was actually discussed, and it's on Facebook. So please feel free to go back to Facebook and look for the seminar that was run last week by this very team on risk. You will find an entire discussion and the whole presentation that was made actually by one of the professional architects. He actually triggered the whole discussion, and it was run last week for about 4 hours. It's on Facebook. So please feel free to listen to it. And you might actually find some of the things you're raising were raised by other colleagues and addressed there. Back to you, Chairperson, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jennifer. We're running out of time. We'll now give it to Ms. Hlophe to do closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Seku. Before I just proceed, I'd just like to thank everybody for this Q&A session, and also thank you so much for the inputs that we have received. Before we do the closing, all persons who still wish to raise questions, I will give you a simple email address for you to send to. You can just send to legal, that's legal at SACAP.com, and then we will definitely attend to your questions. And also just note that our IT department will assist us in compiling all the questions that we have received today on the chat, the Q&A chat, so that we can still be able to respond to those that we did not get to. Before we do the closing, Ms. Pake from our SR department would like to share some words in relation to how you will get copies of this presentation, the video, as well as the actual presentations that were shared here on screen. Thank you, Ms. Pake. You may come in. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Hlophe. Just to put it out there, we just like to inform all registered persons that today's webinar will be uploaded on YouTube. We encourage all of you to follow us on YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel is We Are SACAP. Accordingly, we will share the presentations as presented today. We will also share the video link that will actually take you to the YouTube channel. Yeah, I think we are also aware that some of the professionals have not been allocated CPD points for the previous webinars. Be rest assured, our CPD department is working on that, and we are busy allocating for those webinars, and we apologize for any inconvenience caused. Thank you very much, Ms. Hlophe. Back to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pake. We really appreciate your insights as well. And thank you so much for touching on the issue of the points. We just like to request everyone to please bear patience with us. We will definitely give you those points as promised. We will definitely attend to that as soon as possible. And then we've come to the end of our from my side. I just want to say thank you all. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of SACAP, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all our attendees views today. We will definitely take all views and inputs into consideration. Moving, we do appreciate these webinars. We do appreciate that this is also an opportunity for us to hear from our registered persons, and for us to be able to understand the issues that they're facing out there and look for better ways to help resolve such issues. From our side, in relation to the code, in summary, it is important that you understand the code of conduct, because it governs your conduct in all your dealings with members of the public, the municipalities, and other professionals. Today, we have looked at various rules that relate to the recent contraventions that we have received. However, always remember, as Mr. Matebula stated, that the code of conduct applies to you all in its entirety. We wish to encourage you to contact SACAP where you lack understanding or need assistance in relation to the code of conduct. We are here for you and are always willing to assist. We will also consider all the views in relation to the issues that you are facing at the municipalities as well, also the applicability of the IDOW. And then also, I'd like to thank all the presenters for their efforts towards sharing the applicable rules in a manner that fosters a better understanding of the rules. We also like to thank you for all the persons who are supporting us to be able to have this webinar, such as IT. We again appreciate the SR department. It is truly appreciated from our side as the legal department. I do believe we have achieved our purpose for what we came here today. And then I do believe we are 100% aligned with the rules, and we are expecting to have less complaints relating to the issues that were raised here today. Like Ms. Pake said, the presentations will be shared so that you have something to reference in future when you are rendering architectural work. Just remember that it is very advisable that you just familiarize yourself with the code of conduct. Everything is there in writing. You just need to read, and then wherever you are not sure, we are always available here to assist you with the understanding and with interpretation. Thank you so much again for all of your time, for taking time today to be here with us, for taking time today out of your work. It is much appreciated by us. Thank you, team. And that would be the end of the presentation. Thank you, Ms. Seku. Thank you so much for assisting us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lope. Thank you.